Carousel posts are absolutely crushing it on Instagram right now. And in this video, I'm going to share 7 templates you can use and give you a step-by-step tutorial for how to create and structure your carousels so that they're bringing in followers, leads, and sales for your business. I'm also going to let you in on a little ninja tip that you can use to quickly add a ton of new followers to your Instagram account using just one carousel. So let's get into it. My name is Jordan Maylea, and I grew my online business from no sales to consistent 20K months in just 90 days. Today, I run a global brand that's done over 7 figures in sales, and I'm here to give entrepreneurs like you the blueprint to start, grow, and automate your online business so you can build a profitable personal brand that works for you 24/7, and you don't have to. If you're new here, be sure and hit that subscribe button. I put out brand new videos on this channel every single week, and I don't want you to miss the next free training I release. And if you want to see the exact posting schedule that I follow to power my 7-figure brand, including the 4 types of posts you should be using every week and a sample schedule that you can follow, be sure to grab my profitable social media posting plan at globalfreedomcommunity.com/post. So Instagram recently announced that they went a little too far toward video with their algorithm, and they have come back to prioritizing photos a bit more. Thank goodness. I had about given up on carousels because they were getting no reach thanks to the algorithm only prioritizing reels. But since this update, my carousels have been absolutely blowing up, and it's so good to have them back. So here's just a few that I have posted recently. Look at all those likes and comments and saves. It's so amazing. So let's pop over into my computer. I'm going to take you inside Canva so that I can break down the exact process that I follow for creating my carousels and give you some templates that you can use as well. At the end, we're going to come right back here. I'm going to share that little ninja tip that I mentioned earlier, so be sure and stick around. Okay, so I've pulled up a few of my most popular carousels that I've posted over the past few months, and I kind of want to walk you through how I structure these and why they did so well, so that you can create something similar for your own business. I'm also going to show you some really cool templates and show you how to create your own template if you want to create something that's just totally original and just for you. So this carousel right here did really, really well. And there's a few things I want to point out that I've just found to be little tricks to get the most out of your carousels when you're posting them to Instagram. So first thing is the size. Okay, so a lot of people, when they create a carousel, they make it a square, but Instagram now allows you to create carousels that are more in a rectangle shape. And it's actually been proven that these get better engagement because when someone is scrolling, they take up more of their screen. So this rectangular shape will take up more of the screen when someone's scrolling through their feed, which makes them more likely to actually stop and engage with it. So the size that I use for my carousels is 1080 by 1350 pixels. Okay, and that's a really great size. The only thing you want to keep in mind is that your text needs to be in the middle, specifically for your first slide of your carousel. The reason being, if you have text that goes too far above or below this little purple box, then what's going to happen is the text will be cut off on your Instagram grid. So if someone comes to your profile and they're looking at your grid, they won't be able to read the entire Instagram carousel title. So I like to keep my text, especially on the first slide, right in the middle. And I like to use a really clear, really large font so that people can see it and instantly know by glancing at my profile if they want to click into that post and check it out further. The next thing to keep in mind when creating carousels is to make sure you have your Instagram username somewhere on each slide. This is just so that if people share it and save it, they'll remember where they got it from. And if their friends see it because they share it to their stories or they share it with a friend, that person will know how to connect with you. Next little tip is to make sure you're utilizing all 10 slides of the carousel. So Instagram allows you to post carousels that have up to 10 slides. You want to make sure that you're using all 10 pages of your carousel because that's just 10 more opportunities for someone to engage. And what's really cool about Instagram carousels is that if someone sees it in their feed, let's say that one of your followers sees that your carousel in their feed and they just scroll on past it, they don't swipe through, they don't like it, they don't comment on it, then the next time they're scrolling through their feed, they will see your carousel again, but this time they will see the next slide. And this will keep happening until they engage or, until it kind of falls off the feed. But what's really cool about structuring your carousels in the right way is that if someone doesn't resonate with this first slide, but maybe they're scrolling or maybe they see it and they're just not at a place where they can stop and read, maybe a day or two later in their feed, they might see this slide or this one, and that can call them back and get them to re-engage. So that's another reason why carousels are so great for engagement and why you really want to utilize all 10 slides of your carousel. Now, there's several ways that you can create carousels in terms of the formatting and the style of how you like to put all of your ideas and your content together. Two of my favorite ways are like this, to use a hook at the front that's like, if this, then you that, right? So I like to use an if then, if this is happening, then you're probably doing that. So there's several different ways that you can structure your Instagram carousels in terms of the actual content. However, there's a few things that you want to make sure you always include no matter what content you're putting in the carousel itself. And the first is that you always want your first slide to be a hook. So your first slide is your first opportunity to hook their attention and draw them in and get them to swipe through the rest of the slides. So you can see here that I've got, if coming up with content ideas feels hard, then you probably aren't using my 1-3-2 repurposing formula. The reason this works so well is because it's if this is happening to you, which is a problem that my audience has, then I introduce a framework or a formula that I teach that could be a solution for them. And I actually learned this format from Brandon Lucero, who's amazing at messaging. If you're not following him, he's incredible. But I love using this style of hook in my content because it performs really, really well. Now, here's another example of a similar hook. He said, if you're posting consistently but not getting daily sales, you're probably making one of these 3 mistakes. So again, that's just another opportunity to really hook them in. And then I wanted to show you this one as well because it's totally different style of hook. And it's business hacks I know at 35 that I wish I knew at 20. So again, this is just something that's creating a little bit of curiosity, piquing their interest a little bit, and getting them to click through and engage. So you're welcome to visit my Instagram profile and take a look at some of the hooks that I use in my carousels to get some ideas, because honestly, the hook is one of the most important pieces of your carousel, because if you don't hook their attention, they'll never swipe through and see the rest of your great content. So what I really love to do is use somewhat of a hook on the first slide and then move into a little bit of an introduction, still trying to hook their attention and pull them along with me, creating a bit of a narrative as they go through the carousel. So instead of just jumping right into the formula, I'm sharing why this formula might be important. I'm sharing some interesting stats they may want to know. And I love to use incomplete sentences in my carousels because, again, our brains are wired to want to finish sentences, to want to answer questions. So anytime you use a question or this ... you're naturally leading someone to continue swiping through. So as you can see here, I took this one sentence and split it up across 2 slides. And then again, I shared almost like another hook, right? So again, I'm introducing the formula. And the reason I do this is the first 4 slides. So I know if one of my followers is scrolling through their feed, they are going to have 4 opportunities for me to hook their attention and get them to swipe through if they don't engage right away. So I take these first 3 to 5 slides in my carousel to kind of set it up and draw them into what I'm wanting to share. After that, I dig into really what I just consider the meat and potatoes of the content. So I'm going to give them steps. I'm going to give them a formula. I'm going to give them the tips that I said I would share. And so in this one specifically, I kind of broke my formula down into steps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and that's the meat and potatoes of the content in this particular carousel. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll just have like a title slide, and their title slide might just say, my 1x3x2 repurposing formula. It doesn't address pain points. It doesn't address solutions. It's not really in a hook format. It's more in a title format. But then they'll take that title format and then just share their 3 tips on the next 3 slides, and that's it. Instead of really drawing your reader along and getting them to really engage and become invested in what you're sharing as they swipe through the slides. So I share the meat and potatoes of the content. And then on this one, I love how I had a little bit of extra space. And sometimes if I have more content to share, I don't have as many extra slides at the end. But always, always, always end your carousel with a call to action. And if you have this space, like I did in this one, you can actually set up that call to action. So I said, do you want to steal the exact plan I use to power my 7-figure brand? And then here is where I introduce my freebie and I give them an opportunity to opt into it. So you can come over here and see kind of the same formula in action in a different type of post. So you're probably making one of these 3 mistakes. So as an online business owner, your content should be producing consistent sales. So again, this is not necessarily a hook, but I'm not into the content yet. I'm still guiding them through and drawing them into that story. And if you read it, if you were to actually read out loud all of these slides, they do go together like a story, right? Like I'm sitting here talking to you in a video right now. The sentences all make sense and all go together. And then here I am on slide 4, sharing another hook, like 3 mistakes that are keeping you in the posting and praying cycle. So if someone's seen this post in their feed 4 times, they've now had 4 opportunities to engage and swipe through it. And that's how I really get the biggest reach with my carousels, right? Because I'm not just relying on that first slide to hook someone's attention. So again, after that, I move right into the meat and potatoes of the content. So I'm sharing the 3 mistakes that people make. And then I, again, have my call to action. Are you ready to do this? And they're like, yeah, yes, I am. And so then I say, be sure you grab my posting plan. So I'm just drawing them through the story and always ending with that call to action. This one here is a slightly different style, and I wanted to share it with you because I wanted you to see how you can change it up occasionally. I don't do these often because they are a little bit more work, and I personally like to create my content as efficiently as possible, which is why when you go to my profile, you'll see all of my carousels are this template, and it's really easy for me to recreate them with different content ideas without having to do a lot of redesigning each time I create a carousel. So this one though is a little bit different, and which is why I wanted to show it to you just to give you an idea of a different format. So I've got my hook and I'm drawing them into the story again, right? I didn't just immediately go in to the hacks that I know, right? So I'm drawing them in. So in this particular example, I took the first 3 slides to draw them into the story. And then here is where I actually took smaller text and I squeezed it all in across the different slides. So I did it like that. I put 3 on this one, so it definitely was changed up. This particular carousel got a ton of engagement. I think it's at over 111 likes right now. So people are definitely loving it. And then because I didn't have space at the end, I just included my last slide as a call to action without any kind of setup to it. So you don't always have to set your call to action up with a question. This doesn't necessarily go along with the hacks. I'm like, some of the hacks fit into this, but the post itself is not necessarily about social media content, but I still made sure to include this slide at the end because it's an opportunity for me to take a viewer and capture them into a lead. And you never want to waste that opportunity. So when structuring your carousels, I highly recommend always starting with a hook. Take the first 3 to 5 of your slides and use that to draw them into the story, to hook them in, then share your content, and always, always, always end with a call to action. So I want to show you real quickly some ways to find templates that you can use in Canva for free. All you have to do is go into Canva and type Instagram carousel post, and you will find so many amazing templates to fit your style, your vibe, your brand. All of these can be totally changed up in color and all of that. And I personally recommend choosing 1 or 2 templates that you repeat on a regular basis. The main reason being, when you create that cohesive presence with your carousels, your followers will start to recognize and look for it in their feed. So like my followers, if they're scrolling and they see that light purple carousel, they know, oh, that's Jordan. That's Jordan's carousel. She always has good stuff to share. I'm going to make sure I stop and read this, right? So as your following grows, you will literally condition your audience to look for that template and associate it with you. And I've changed my template up several times over the years. It's not like I've used the same one forever and ever, but I do recommend, picking something and sticking with it instead of always picking a different template. Plus, it makes content creation so much easier. So I'm going to pop a few of my favorite templates in the description below this video. You can grab them in Canva. They're totally free. But I wanted to point out this here so that you could see, because a lot of people don't know. For example, this one, it has 7 slides. So you've already got the slides here in all of these examples. This one, again, also has 7 slides. And so you can duplicate, add more slides as you're editing. So it really just comes down to finding a style that you love. I do tend to recommend the ones that have really big, bold text on the front, just because that's the easiest for people to read. And you want to make sure that people are able to quickly see what your carousel is going to be about. But it's also important to pick something that aligns with your brand identity, and what people are used to seeing from you when it comes to your content, right? So like I have really soft, almost muted colors. So, my audience would not expect to see hot pink or, bright orange from me, right? So I try to make sure that I'm using colors that align with my brand and that people are learning to recognize, the type of content I create and what they can expect from me. Another little quick tip right before we wrap this up is you can take this a step further and you can even type in here to the top. For example, let's do health and wellness carousel. So if we click this, now all of a sudden you've brought up some that are specific to this niche, which is really interesting. And so sometimes they will have different elements within them that might make it easier for you to adapt it to the type of content you're wanting to create. You could do self-care carousel. And if you search here, right, now you're seeing some different things here as well. So you can type your specific niche up here in the blank and see what comes up, or you can do like what I did and just create your own from scratch. So typically a lot of them are squares, so you'll want to resize them to be that size that I showed you at the beginning. And then alternatively, you can just create a template that's this size, right? The 1080 by 1350, and then you can change up the background, to be whatever you want it to be, change up the text, and align it with your brand in that way. As you can see, it is so easy to create Instagram carousels using Canva. And if you want to grab any of the templates that I shared in today's video, be sure to check out the description below for the links. Just don't forget to go to globalfreedomcommunity.com/post and grab my social media posting plan so that you know the 4 types of posts you should be using each week for best results, and you have a sample schedule that you can follow that I have tested and proven to work. Now, I want to share this little ninja tip that I used to add 1,020 followers from one carousel. So let's get into it. A lot of people don't know that if you have a professional account, you can boost your post for just $5 a day and get it seen by a ton of your ideal clients. The key is to boost the right post based on what's performing well without the boost, and then choose the right goal and the right audience so that it brings in a flood of followers to your account. I could talk about this for another 15 minutes, but I wanted to at least mention it here. But if you'd like me to record an entire video breaking down the process step by step, just let me know in the comments and I will add it to the schedule. All right, that's all I got for today. I have asked YouTube to recommend the best next video for you, which you can watch right here. Just don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go so you'll be notified the next time we release a new video on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.